They're in that upstairs building. Can't really get to them.
So I have decided to come back and play some Hell Let Loose. So I've got about 700 hours in Hell Let Loose. Mostly playing Commander, mostly playing Squad Lead, mostly playing Tank Commander. So I do a lot of the communicating. I really enjoy that aspect of Hell Let Loose. And while I can't hold my own as a rifleman, I still really enjoy the communication side of things. This video will mostly show you some tips for infantry play as well as some vehicle play. Now, one of the first things as a new player of Hell Let Loose is learning how to traverse the ground as an infantryman and learning how to not die in a tank. Learning those two things will keep you alive and you'll be more effective as a result. Throwing yourself at the enemy is usually a bad move, and we'll get more into that. Now, as you can see here, as I'm approaching this point, I purposely go down this little ravine because we've already cleared the garrison behind us, so we know that enemies won't be spawning behind us and that we can get into the point from behind. And you can see these soldiers, they're running up, right? But they're not firing at us because they are not paying attention. They have no map awareness. They're just running into the strong point. So I'm able to sneak in here pretty fast. The nice part about Hell Let Loose is it's a game that rewards patience. Using your brain instead of your ability to shoot can really make a difference. We take this point, and that was because our squad managed to take out that enemy garrison, and then after taking that enemy garrison, we had them basically on the ropes. Alright, so another clip here, really important one. As an AT soldier, right, especially with the Soviet Union, you don't get bazooka till like level 9, so unless you want to grind that out, it's a long grind. So right now, I decided to build an AT gun to help out with this Lux, but lo and behold, that was Panther. Now instead of trying to fight a Panther with an AT gun, I decided to redeploy. And sometimes that's the best thing. And I'm really glad I did, because this guy spawning on the garrison, there's a dude like right here. And he literally just like, I couldn't believe this, right? Like my squad mate ran right past him. It was the craziest thing to me. Anyway, so back on the infantry side of things, instead of going into the buildings, I decided to take the flank. Glad I did. I managed to get this support, this supply truck, which I think was trying to go build a garrison. I'm glad that we managed to get him. Keeping supply trucks from the enemy is very important. Supply trucks mean garrisons, it means defenses, especially in this mode. You want to keep the supply truck away from the enemies. Map awareness is a big one. You see, I see that flare get popped, and I see right away there's some enemies right here, so I ping it, and then sure enough, there's a couple hiding right there. So I managed to get these 2 shots off.
On top of the hill there.
Because we had a recon who popped a flare, and I was able to find out where they were hiding. And that's really important, right, is being patient and waiting for that stuff. I start getting shot at, and I'm wondering who's shooting at me, because it doesn't make any sense, right? I've been pretty concealed, I've been pretty conservative with my shots. And
You guys don't have your whites on. We're gonna get nailed out here.
turns out everyone decided to come over on this flank. So I make a little retreat here, and I'm not really interested in grinding out a fight right here because I don't even have my squad lead. So I decided to redeploy to my squad. And a lot of times, don't be afraid to redeploy. Redeploying is not a terrible thing. It means that your enemy will be facing a different direction, right, when you redeploy. There's no downside to get, like, you don't get bonus points for getting a kill streak or anything. So redeploying is a great way to change the direction you're going, right? That's really important.
Watch it. Right to our right.
So right here, I decided to switch to an assault class, and we decided to push up that garrison we knew was right by these buildings. And by doing that, we pulled away a lot of defenders from their side of the point. And pulling away those defenders back to this side is important, right? Like even though I don't get like a huge kill streak right here, I don't take out their garrison. I pulled away enough guys so that our guys could actually make a play. And sure enough, they managed to pop an airhead really close to the point. And because the enemy just didn't have any more tanks, they didn't have any more garrisons. The only one they had was on that far right side. We ended up taking that last point and winning. Alright, so now we're going to be looking at the German side of Kursk, pushing forward. And this was a relatively easy match, apart from having some issues. I wanted to build some nodes and then go tank. Now on Kursk is a tank map, so it's all about controlling tanks, right? There's some infantry play, but it's mostly it's mostly a tank map, right? Tanks will dominate it. I had to take the recon tank, which is fine. When you're in the recon tank and you're a solo, you have to be absolutely conservative. Do not push up into the point. Do not
T-34 go on the backside of
like just don't do anything. Don't even fire your gun until you're positive that you have something worth killing, like a garrison or an enemy tank. And one of the guys that joined my squad, he had just lost his light tank to a 3-man T-34. Now, when you're fighting a 3-man team as a solo tanker, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose 90% of the time. So the best thing you can do is not engage them.
40 seconds.
And it's probably the biggest mistake my
what are they gonna do?
my teammate, it seemed like he wanted to like drive around.
Alright, we gotta
but
move
the problem is
why don't you pull it back?
we're not a 3-man team, right? So I have no vision, right? If I have to drive,
It's definitely a
he's
T-34.
I just don't have any vision, so I didn't feel comfortable with it, and I didn't want to lose their tank, so I told him to pull back. And that's really important to understand, is
and they already spotted us.
not rushing when you're a solo tanker.
The T-34 was able to go.
Something I did here was I pushed up to this building, right? It's a really great building, great vantage point, and that's very important
to take the
when you're
like they have a 3-man team.
trying to take a point, figuring out where the enemy's at, right?
Okay, I've got a pretty good look on the point now. I'll start marking targets for you.
Now we're trying to nail this recon tank, but I'm not sure what
Okay, we have a
killed
recon
our
tank on
guy.
the main road. Mark it for you.
I have no
Oh,
idea.
yeah, you see him? He's right here.
He decides to leave, and that was really frustrating. I mean, I don't know if he left the game or he just went and joined a squad, but now I'm in this tank by myself, and I'm up against an IS-1, and I guess it was a light tank. I'm pretty sure it was a light tank. So it was very frustrating, honestly. Like having a tank by myself and a medium is not easy. I'm glad I brought the medium though, because I guess I was up against a light tank and an IS-1. I'm assuming it was a light tank. It might have been that recon tank from earlier. Either way, he's not going to penetrate my armor, so
I guess my gunner left.
he can sit back and just take him out. I would have been dead already if this was a different tank. There's something really important to think about as a tanker. When you're fighting an enemy heavy tank, you cannot penetrate him from the front. And when you're as a solo tanker, you're even more vulnerable because switching seats takes so long. Now, after supporting the infantry and taking this point, I knew
Well, what tanks do they have left?
I couldn't take on this IS-1 by myself.
IS-1 on D.
I waited for my fellow tanker to show up with the Panther, and so that he could engage me. And that's more important, right? Is letting your heavy tanks engage him, because keeping this Panzer IV on the front is going to be valuable later.
Thank you, we're almost there. He turned around!
So sure enough,
He's looking right at me.
our heavy tank manages to beat their heavy tank, which is good. I was prepared to fight it if I needed to, but thankfully I didn't need to. I faced my tank towards Milk, because that way I could cover him with my MG if I needed to. while my teammate was repairing, I managed to take some pot shots at the point. I like to ping the map to kind of get an idea of where the enemies are at. Right, so that's where I would be, is right there. So then I can get some extra kills off that, help soften them up. But taking care of your fellow tankers is very important. Working as a team.
I don't park my tank to repair off, but when I do, I park it next to the guy with the satchel who's just waiting in the middle of nowhere. I guarantee you. Bug, I have no idea what shot you. I don't see anything here.
Then I immediately repositioned. That's really important too, is reposition. Take a couple shots and reposition. You'd be surprised
AT gun?
how longer
No, I
you'll
think
live
it's just
because
fun.
you move your tank and you don't just sit still. That's a big issue I know, is like a lot of people will park in places where they don't have cover or they're right out in the open. This is not a good place to be. You want to be in spots that are hard to see, like I'm behind this haystack right now,
Line take on dog.
and that
Just destroyed a T-70 as well.
that's keeping me kind of without, like, because I was behind that haystack, I couldn't get shot, right? And that's important. Now over here, what we're doing is we're mostly just providing fire support. This is why preserving tanks is so important, right? Is, yeah, I don't have a Panther, I don't have a heavy tank, but this medium tank's got a lot of HE rounds in it, and I can take full advantage of that.
They're firing at me.
I can take full advantage of this tank, even though I am only a solo crewman. I'm absolutely ripping through these guys.
Bug, there's infantry to the left. Be careful.
Milk telling me, right? There's an infantry guy to my left. That's really important. Just talking to each other. So by doing that, sure enough, I had my gun facing left for this exact purpose. Now, I don't know if I got this guy or not. I like to think I did. I mean, I probably didn't get him, but either way, I didn't get satcheled, so I decided to pull forward more after a bombing run, and sure enough, I'm getting shot at again. And I don't know if it was that same guy from earlier, but what he's doing right now, do not do this. Do not do this. You're not gonna over-penetrate my
He
tank.
has chosen death.
It just doesn't work. Like, you're gonna keep deflecting over and over again. And yeah, this little light tank's not gonna blow up a Panzer IV unless it hits it in the rear. So that guy just basically wasted a light tank. He could have drove all the way around and behind me. There's other options. I recommend everybody learns how to tank and also learn how to play as an infantryman. There's advantages to both. Dying over and over and over again isn't a solution either. So taking a step back and looking at a situation from another angle is very important. Anyways, I hope this has been helpful. I will be posting more videos, and I'll be going over different classes and stuff